Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful day here in North Carolina, and I figured what better way to start the day than recording a video on Amazon's Elastic Beanstalk. Now, I know that kind of sounds weird, and you're thinking to yourself, Elastic what? Elastic Beanstalk is a Amazon service that it's a compute service, and it's more of a platform as a service where you're not going to have to worry about any of the underlying architecture or setup that you would with a regular EC2 instance. But it is a compute service that allows you to create scalable web applications. And it's important that you note that it's a web application. This is not going to be for, this isn't going to be for database servers and things like that. So this is a really cool feature that you can use within AWS. Now, I'm going to be honest with you folks. I know when I was studying for things, this is a little bit of a disclaimer here. When I was studying for things, I actually preferred that instructors, had a nice fancy slide up with all the information and whatnot. And then I realized that all the information that they put on those slides was readily available for me to just go and read. So I was basically paying for them to rewrite what was already there for me to read. So, I understand where you folks may say, oh, you're just showing me what's already on Amazon's documentation. You're not, you're not building a slide for me to read it. And I get that. I understand where you're coming from. But I want to show you how to fish for yourselves. I don't want to hand you the fish and create lazy cloud practitioners. I want to create engineers that essentially know where to look for these things on their own. So I'm logged into my management console. I'm going to go to under compute and you'll see Elastic Beanstalk. Now I'm going to highlight some notes. Once the page comes up, I'm going to highlight some notes here because Amazon has kind of given me everything that I want to teach you folks. First of all, you'll notice here that Elastic Beanstalk is going to support a lot of different web codes that you can use. And you can read them right there on the screen. You can use Java, .NET, PHP, Node.js, Python, Ruby, Go, Docker, right? And these are going to be available on websites or on web servers that include Apache, Nginx, Passenger, and IIS. So you can deploy any one of these code applications, web applications, onto Elastic Beanstalk and just simply have it run. Now, what's great here is that Amazon handles everything about the deployment. It handles all the provisioning. It handles all the load balancing. So let me just jot them down here. So it handles all the load balancing. It handles the scaling of it. So if your application, if you think about how you would do this in an EC2 instance, right? So you have an EC2 instance, EC2, and let's just say that all of a sudden this just peaks in usage, right? You yourself would have to go and create an auto scaling group to say, look, I need to create two more. So we'll say EC2 times 2. I need to create 2 more EC2 instances because I need greater scale. You would have to go and you would have to configure all of this. And you would also have to worry about the operating system of that EC2 instance. You'd have to worry about the configuration of Apache or your web server. You would have to worry about all of that with an EC2 instance. But with Elastic Beanstalk, you don't. They are going to take care of all of that for you. So you don't have to worry about any of the scaling, any of the provisioning, any of the load balancing, any of the nothing. All you simply do is you pick what kind of web server you're going to want. So if you're going to deploy Java code, you want to select the web deployment for a Java web server, right? And you want to pick Apache if that's what you're going to deploy your code on. So you would essentially develop this code on your own, and it's important that you know the difference, right? So you would essentially, and you could use this to develop your code as well, right? Let's say you're developing a web server of some kind, and you want to use Elastic Beanstalk to develop your code, which is one of the things it's great for. You can do that. You can go light up, a Java web server. You can pick Apache, let AWS worry about all the provisioning of it. When the server turns up, you develop your code and you're good to go. And then what you can do, which is really cool, is you can download that code. You can go and deploy a production Elastic Beanstalk instance with Java, with Apache. You can upload your code, the same code that you essentially developed over here, and now you have a good, clean production instance that, again, is going to auto-scale itself, it's going to provision itself, it's going to do everything that you need to do. And it's important that you know that it's fully managed by AWS. So this is actually a really, really cool service, not just for development, but for deploying some fairly simple web applications that, again, you want to scale. So, and when I say fairly simple, I don't mean that the web app has to be simple. I mean that the deployment deployment of that web app is very simple. You can have extremely complex code. You can have a very complex web server or web configuration, very complex website with a shopping cart and all that kind of fun stuff. And you can just upload that code to Elastic Beanstalk and be done with it. So it's a really, really cool, feature within AWS. Let's take a look at deploying one. So I'm going to say create application. Underneath here, I'm going to pick a name. So we're going to just say EBS web-app. Pretty simple. No rocket science here. I think I put a space there by mistake. Down here, we can give it a key. So this is where maybe I give it a name. And I think it has to be name tag is reserved. So we'll say application, and we're going to say EBS. So we'll give it a tag so we know what it is. The platform. Now this is where we're going to choose what kind of a platform we plan on deploying. So again, if I'm writing a web application for .NET on a Windows server, that's what I would pick. If I was writing a Java app or a Tomcat app, whatever I'm writing is what I'm going to pick here. Okay. Now I'm just going to pick Tomcat. No big deal. Again, you can see that we have some more advanced options down here, so I can pick the version of Tomcat if I need to, obviously the platform version. Now here's where I can choose either custom code or I can choose my sample code. Now, if I'm going to upload my code, very, very easy. All I would essentially do is either upload that from an S3 URL, so I could upload my web code to an S3 store if I have one, or I can just simply choose a file if I have that zipped up, if I have that code locally on my developer, desktop or something like that, I can upload it. If I haven't gotten to development yet, if I'm actually using EBS to develop that web application, I would just pick sample code. Now we do have some more options here. If I say configure more options, there are more options that I can pick that I can go and I can alter the configuration. So again, here you'll see that there's different presets. So do I want high availability? Do I want a free tier? All of these things would be susceptible to you for you to decide what you want to do, right? Maybe this web application is going to be the prod app. We're uploading our custom code that we've developed already, and we want this to be high availability. There's going to be a cost for that, as you can see. It's not a free tier. I don't really care here. It's a free tier, so that's what we're going to pick. Again, I can change the platform version here. This is like an advanced configuration where we can change some of the custom attributes and the custom options that Amazon's going to give us. We're not going to change anything here. I just wanted to show you that there is quite a bit of different options that you can select, such as your security key pair, your capacity. Again, right here, it's going to give us the T2.micro, the free tier, but maybe we want a bigger one. So we'll just say create application. And that's it. What's going to essentially happen here is that EBS is going to go create a web app for us. It's going to provision everything for us. It's going to give us all of the configuration. It's going to give us all the IP addresses we need. We literally don't have to do anything. This is going to be our simple web app that we've created, and you can see the environment is starting. So that's it, folks. It's really, really easy. Definitely recommend you come and play with this. It's really cool to just set up a quick web demo and just see how EBS works.